Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness. So what's great about this is the fact that whenever you're not using your wiring, it's going to be stored inside of your Outlander, out of sight and out of the elements, so it'll really stay protected. Whenever you are ready to use it though, just grab it out of your storage compartment and drape it over the threshold. Now, anywhere along the threshold is fine. You just want to do your best to avoid the latch area here, because if you get it hung up in there, it could potentially get damaged. Well, when you got it draped over, close the hatch, and now you're ready to hook up to your trailer. So once you plug this into your trailer, it's going to provide you with all the necessary lighting functions to be safe and legal. And one thing too, a lot of people don't think about is using light up accessories like a cargo carrier or a little step, for example. A lot of those type of accessories actually utilize this type of connector, and so this will be able to power those up as well. So what's nice about this setup too is the fact that it uses a module box. And what that module box is going to do is protect your Outlander's factory wiring if a short or an electrical issue were to occur on the trailer side. And for me, that would really put my mind at ease, knowing that the complicated and advanced electrical systems of today's newer cars will stay protected if anything does happen. One of the big questions we get is what wiring to get for my Outlander, and that's really just going to depend on if you have a factory tow package plug or not. The good news is it's really easy to figure out. The factory tow package plug will just be located behind this panel here on the driver's side. And believe it or not, it's really not too bad to get to and open up and see if you have it. If you do have that plug, this wiring kit will work perfectly for you and is definitely the way to go. Now, once you do have this open, everything's pretty straightforward to actually get the wiring installed. It more or less just plugs right in. So the basic set of hand tools shouldn't give you any issues at all installing it at home. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that together now. To begin our install, we're going to need to locate our factory tow package plug. And so we're going to be working here in the back of our Outlander. And the plug should be here on the driver's side. So we'll have to take a few things apart to find it. First thing we're going to do is take our floor covering, lift it up, and set it out of the way. Now we can remove our little storage tray. It's going to be held in place by a Phillips head screw on each side. We'll pull those out. You should be able to just kind of lift up on it and move it off to the side. So now at this point we can remove our threshold here. So this just pops off more or less. You can start at one corner of it. You can pull up and out, kind of working your way along it. Once we have it off, we can set it to the side. So to get this side panel loose, we're going to have to take out a couple of fasteners. Down here towards the bottom, where our little cargo hook is, there's going to be one you can get with a Phillips head bit. That whole thing will pop out. Just move that off to the side. And then up here, we're going to have another Phillips head. Once we have both them removed, what we can do is kind of grab the edge of it and start to work it free. You don't need to take it completely off. You just need to get enough room in here. And it looks like actually we'll have one more fastener down here. So if you pull that out, it'll give us just a little more room. Again, that's a Phillips head. So with that last fastener removed, you can actually get a little more room. And if you look inside at this wiring, we're going to have a plug that's just taped up. And this is going to be our tow package plug. So what you can do is kind of peel that tape off. That way you can have a little slack and be able to work with it easily. Now we can take our new trailer wiring and simply just plug it in to the factory connector there. Those two will just snap together. And we're going to have a single white wire with the pre-attached ring terminal, and that's going to need to get grounded. So there's actually a factory ground right here, and so we'll just utilize that. So pull that bolt out using a 10mm socket. You'll take that bolt and push it through your grounds ring terminal, and make sure you put it back on that factory ground as well. Once we have it all lined up and started, we'll simply just tighten it back down. At this point, we can mount up our module box. And I'm just going to use an included two-sided sticky tape to do that. So peel off a side. Before you put this on here, you want to clean it off real well, some rubbing alcohol or something like that. That way it ensures a good bond. We'll push that on there. And if you peel this back, I think a good spot is going to be right here. It's nice and flat. So I cleaned it off. I'll go ahead and simply just peel the backing paper off the other side of the tape and stick it to the body of our vehicle. So I went ahead and just used some of the included zip ties to kind of secure our wiring up and help clean up our install look. But with everything hooked up back here, we can kind of put our panel back into position. You do want to make sure that you take the 4-way flat connector end of our harness and put this in this area under the panel. This just goes back the opposite way that we removed it. This kind of snaps back into position and gets resecured. Our threshold will simply just get pushed back into place as well. And something I do want to mention, whenever you're putting these panels back, if your weather stripping kind of gets kinked up like this, what you can do is just kind of use your fingers to make sure it lays on top of the panel and not pinched underneath it. Grab your storage tray, just drop that back into place and re-secure it with those two Phillips head screws. So I chose to take our 4-pole flat wiring and kind of just bring it up along the side of our compartment. That way we can store it in here whenever we're not using it, and we can easily get to it whenever we are ready to use it. So once we set our floor covering in, what we're going to need to do is move to under the hood, because there's one more factory plug we need to locate and hook up. So now underneath the hood, we're here on the driver's side up towards the front of the vehicle, and if you look down here in this little pocket, we're going to see that there's a plug taped to some wiring harness, and that's the plug that we need to work with. So I kind of just pull it up and get that tape off there. It's easier to work with. So there's going to be a little cap in it just to help keep those terminals protected that we need to remove. So if you push down on that center tab, you're able to pull that cap out. So we'll take that cap, set it to the side. We'll grab the other harness that comes with our kit and simply just plug this directly into that factory connector. So I went ahead and routed that wiring to the positive battery terminal, and just simply goes underneath this little air inlet right over to the positive battery terminal. So we'll lift up on that cap And we're going to have a nut there we can remove. We'll do that using a 12 millimeter. Careful not to lose that nut. And pull that off. And then we can take the ring terminal there, slide that over the stud, and then just put the nut back on and tighten it down. So once we have that connected, we can go to our fuse holder and install the included fuse. So I went ahead and used another zip tie just to help keep our wiring all secure. So with everything hooked up, it's a good idea to test our wiring to make sure that it's working properly. So go ahead and use our left turn, our right turn. We'll hit our brakes and our running lights. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness on our 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander.